Well, it's great to have everybody here. So many people came out for this wonderful exhibit, you know, and one thing I'd like to say, the nice thing about this exhibit is it's a good mixture of local, regional, and even Midwestern. And so I think it gives you a good sampling of the really great and amazing talent that actually exists within the Midwest area. And I've always been a strong supporter of Midwestern artists. Like I said, I've said it over and over again. I had a professor that really instilled in at least my mind. He said there's more interesting things happening in the Midwest than there is on the East Coast or West Coast, because cost of living is cheaper here and we have more freedom to kind of explore and expand our knowledge. And so I think that's really, really great. And you see it here. I mean, you see a great variety of different approaches to making art. And it's so nice to have so many creative people in one space. And I really love having all this energy and all this interaction here. You know, because typically it's a very quiet place during the week. So to have this many people here is really, really great for me. It kind of brightens my spirits up. So I really thank everyone for coming out today. But with that being said, we have the honorable juror who actually selected the works that were in the show, and I will turn it over to Dan Perry. I'll do a little brief introduction of Dan. So Dan Perry is a sculpture professor at the University of Northern Iowa. He actually has several pieces of work here in the community, right? You have the Chronicle, which is down across from City Hall. You have the one out in Memorial Park. I don't know the name of that one though.
Air Force Veterans.
Yeah, and that one. And so he's been kind of an important fixture in terms of bringing public art to the Fort Dodge area. You know, the Oakleys was him and his former colleague helped bring those here. And so, and they've, University of Northern Iowa, they have a program that's really kind of been helping not only the Blanden, but also helping the community bring more of those kind of things to the Fort Dodge and Winter County area. So, Dan, I'll turn it over to you. I think I talked you up pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. Like Eric said, my name is Dan Perry. I teach over at UNI. I'm also a professional artist. I've been making artwork now for 20 years, which is hard to say, hard to believe. And so, you know, when Eric asked me to jury a show like this, I was a little hesitant at first, just because jurying any show is daunting, because as an artist yourself, you know what it takes to put yourself out there and your work out there and face the fear of rejection, but there's also the reward of being accepted into a show. And so having that sort of dilemma as I'm looking at the artworks, you know, I come from a place as a teacher, but as an artist, but also a place of envy too, because of all the talent that I was able to look at from everybody that submitted. So if any artists are here, I really want to thank you for submitting and making my job as a juror really hard. So you should give yourself a round of applause. And so a little bit about my process, you know, I like to judge it sort of blind. So Eric was nice enough to organize all the things into folders, and I sort of scanned through all the images and did my initial impression of what sticks out to me. And so, like, you know, a lot of times your first impression is your strongest one. Then I started contemplating, so why am I drawn to this piece? Why am I drawn to this artwork? Again, not knowing anything about the artist, I didn't know names, I didn't know, you know, where they were from, I didn't know any of their background, so I'm just purely basing it on an image. And so, you know, a lot of them struck me in different ways, whether it's technical challenges, whether it's a really ambitious piece, whether it's something that's boldly colored, or just a striking image. You know, I like to think of artists, we're the people that sort of become conduits to processing the imagery in our world. And so where the average person, like we just drove from Waterloo today, you know, you're driving across Iowa, and I can look around every time on that drive between here and Fort Dodge, I find something interesting again that I didn't notice before. And so artists are very observant. They take those images and they process them in ways in their brains, and then they sort of reinterpret them through their hands. And so, or just by capturing moments. And so I think those are all very important things in a time where everything is sort of instant gratification. You know, you do a Google image search, you're bombarded with imagery on your phone through various social feeds and news feeds and things like that. And so taking time to pause, taking time to, you know, the effort that it takes to make an image or a strong composition or to tell a story visually, I think is something that should not be lost on us as a culture. And as Eric said, we are really lucky to be in the Midwest where there is a lot of this. It's just not as obvious to people. And so Eric mentioned the public art realm. I do a lot of work in public art, and so when I'm telling my students these things, it's like, you know, when somebody's going to a museum, they're in the mindset, I'm going to go look at something, I'm going to go look at art, go look at artifacts, and so they have that mindset going into it. Public art is something that maybe you sort of stumble onto as you're walking down the street on a main street or you're driving by, and so it's a different experience. And so, you know, Eric always tells me stories about people that might be road tripping across the country and they're on I-80 heading across and they hear about the Blanden and they come up here to see that. And so I think that's a testament too to the power of what you have going on here at the Blanden, that it draws people from all over, and then when they get here, even though they're thinking we're gonna go look at art, they don't know what they're gonna see till they get here. And so I think they'd be really pleasantly surprised at what they see in this room today. And like that said, I've taken a few laps around the show here and seen where people are from, and I was happy to see there's local people, there's people from around the region, back to my roots in Omaha, and even further with North Carolina roots. So again, it was a good draw to that. And so as I'm going through my second round of thinking about what these images are, I'm not really curating, I'm not thinking, well, these two look good together, this one looks together. And so I'm just still trying to figure out, okay, what's drawn to it. So like upon the second, third look, I see details, I see, you know, reasons, and sometimes there are reasons I just can't articulate. It's like, well, I just feel like it's I feel like it's an electric image, or I feel like it's something that's been captured that I may not have realized, or it's just simply an energetic expression by the artist, and you can see the artist's handwork, the technical skills. A lot of this comes from practice. There are people that are naturally talented, to be sure, but to really get to a higher level, you have to keep practicing and making your work. So it's not by accident. The artwork doesn't just appear. So like, you know, I know what it's like to be in a studio and frustrated that the work just isn't doing what you want it to do for whatever reason. Sometimes they come together really easily, and other times it's the albatross that you're trying to beat down. So yeah, so with that said, the artwork in this room is just sort of a culmination. I was looking for variety. I was looking for different approaches. I was looking for a variety of sort of, you know, some things that look like they're from the Midwest. Other things that you're not really sure where they're from. Other times things that tell stories, sort of delicate ways. Other times they're sort of more open. Other times they're very recognizable events, like, you know, I see two photographs here that have, you know, storm clouds running in, and currently thinking about, you know, maybe my mind's been affected by all the weather we've been having when I was during the show, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks familiar. And that's something that happens. So if I could have, I would have tried to accept as many works as possible, but Eric was like 24, that's it. He likes that round number. So, but yeah, and working at this scale, it's also great as an artist because you can certainly get your work out there more easily. You're not having to spend a lot of money in shipping, you're not having to spend a lot of money in logistics, you know, and so I think that's important. But also overall, I feel like this collection, now that I see it in person, there's a lot of commonalities and there's a lot of connections you can draw between the pieces, whether it be a color scheme, a compositional feel, or even just maybe some heavy content, like Eric mentioned, sort of the death wall here. And so that's, I think, something too that artists process all phases of life. They take those moments, those times, those concepts, and can really do some interesting things with them through their various process. So yeah, I think it's a great show. I was very happy to jury with it, very pleased with the way it came out. I think Eric did a great job hanging and curating the show. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any right now.
Well, Dan will be around
Yeah,
too.
I'll be around.
Yeah, if you want more kind of an intimate conversation with Dan,
Yeah.
he'll be around. So, but we do have some awards to hand out too. And I'm not very. Are you better with names than I am?
We'll see.
So this is so first place, and I can say his first name, but it goes to Alex Rinbarger.
Yeah. So it's
It's
that painting right there.
Came out to be first place, so I don't think Alex is here. No. All right, so first place. Second place goes to Dennis Hagen.
Yep.
The,
So it's that sort of abstract composition.
the group, yep, the abstract one there. Yeah, so that's second place. And third place goes to Neil Grievous?
Grace. I think it's Grace.
Grace, which is the Goodwill one, right? Yeah, so the Goodwill painting. And then we have 2 honorable mentions. I think you put in honorable mentions. So first honorable mention is Don Guthrie with the photograph. Honorable mention. Congratulations, Don. And then the other one is, and the other one is it Annie?
I think it's
Annie's
Saracen.
Yeah. This one here is the other honorable mention. So, so again, I would like to thank everybody. I think everybody deserves an award for just being here. I think this, like Dan said, it's a fantastic exhibit, and it was a delight to put together and try to figure out how the works relate and work together with each other. The one wall that did come together really quick was my death wall, so that that was easy. But yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do here at the museum is when the work comes in, I get to kind of play around with it and get to organize it and then figure out a way to present it to the people that come here in a way that I feel like makes sense, or at least strikes up interesting conversations and dialogues with not only the work and the individuals, but the works side by side have an interesting kind of dialogue and story that happens. And so, and then my ultimate goal, is how does this exhibit relate to the other exhibits going on downstairs, and then you have that kind of cross communication. So, with that, I think again, thank you everybody for coming. If you're looking for something to do next weekend, we have another reception. We have a closing reception for the East Gallery. So if you're looking for something to do, please come back. We'll have plenty of food again, and we'll have the artist who's from Omaha will be here, and we can say goodbye to that exhibit, and then we'll start hanging another one. So again,
Juried.
yes.
And if you really have nothing to do, next Saturday morning,
Right.
we have our artist group that meets at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful group. Please feel free to join us.
Yeah, and I bring the coffee and the donuts, and all you got to bring is yourself and maybe some artwork to have people look at. And it's an easy group. We're not confrontational. We don't tear everybody down, and we give you exactly what you ask for. If you want to just show off your work, and we'll love it and appreciate it, and do all that. But if you want some suggestions, there's a good group for that too. So if you're an artist that hasn't made art for a long time, come on in. We'll get you going again. If you're an artist that is kind of working right now, we'll come in. We'll make you better, and we're looking for more people. I mean, we've got a good group of at least 14. And so the more the merrier. If I have to buy another box of donuts, that'll be a happy moment for me. Right, I'm up to 2 boxes. Let's go to 3 or 4. That'd be perfect. So again, I think we have plenty of food downstairs. Enjoy yourself. Otherwise, if you want to talk to Dan one-on-one, just grab him, and he'll be here until the end. So thank you all for coming out, and hopefully we'll see you.